What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Wars of the Stars, episode number 85. Episode number 85 today. Jesus is going to be a Andor review and discussion. Discuss all things Andor, even the screws and bricks. Sorry, I had to make that joke. And we will also discuss the Guardians trailer and a bunch of other stuff we haven't caught up in about a month since we last went live to talk about Wakanda Forever. I've had an interesting week. I guess I can say it. I don't care. I've been sick for 2.5 weeks, still not feeling well, and I went to the doctors multiple times, and then I finally saw my primary care doctor. And she was concerned that there could have been some underlying illness I had, and by such like a severe illness.
Drew has cancer, everyone.
No, I don't. I don't have cancer, guys.
He tried to pull a Jane Foster on me and just kind of drop it mid-sentence. It was crazy.
Did I?
No.
Did I? When I told you? Yeah, so I had a little bit of a scary week when they just, friggin' mentioned it. And I didn't think it was going to be that, but when that was said, I was freaked out. So I've had an interesting week.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I'm still not feeling well. They don't know what's wrong. So we got to figure that out.
Dude.
Well, no, I love my doctors and I love doctors. I'm going into the field of medicine, obviously, so I appreciate everything they do. But yeah, it's kind of concerning. I'm usually a healthy person. So yeah, I've had an eventful week. But besides that, I'm doing well. We're getting towards the end of the semester. Got about a week left, and then I'll have a month off.
Yeah, crazy.
And we'll be doing more shows. So be on the lookout for that. End of the year stream. Gonna be fun. So come out to that. Alex, how are you doing though?
I'm fine. 6 days and I'm a major adult. I'm an adult.
That is true. You are 18. You have legal possession over your name.
Finally. Yeah. Just counting down the days and then.
Are you gonna buy a scratchy? You can buy a scratch ticket?
No. I'm going to buy Christmas presents, so.
Hey, given. Hey, that's a good person right there. Being given. We'd love to hear.
I was supposed to do it last week, but then we were having problems with people's Christmas lists, so the stuff I was going to buy people had already bought. Oh,
I see. So. I see. Yeah.
And then, yeah, I bought Drew stuff also. That's coming from.
Alex didn't have to do that, but now I feel obliged to get him something.
It's a late birthday Christmas present.
Alex for a long time has been promising to make me something, and that's kind of fallen through.
Mm-hmm.
This is
not going to work.
This is a late.
Very late.
But I am very appreciative. Alex didn't have to do it. I also think Alex felt sympathy for me because I told him I might have cancer, so he was just like,
I might as well get you something before it could have been too late.
Okay, you didn't have to make that. Why? Within 4 minutes, you're gonna get us canceled already. You can't be saying this stuff. You cannot be saying this stuff.
I just had to be sure.
Yeah. You cannot be saying this stuff. I've already heard enough of those jokes this week.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy. But yeah. Just had a bit of a nothing week. We'll just say that.
Dr. Pepper shirt? I like it.
Oh, yeah. How could you tell? I literally lifted it up for like not even...
I saw the DR, and I saw the pepper, so I saw the whole thing. So, and it's a unmistakable logo, I feel like. Do you like Dr. Pepper?
No. That's the point. I don't like the drink.
I don't drink soda, so like, is it okay on the soda scale? Is it pretty bad?
It's awful. I also think it's also one of like the least healthy sodas you can drink. So
probably,
because it's a dark one.
Yes, right.
Because those ones are
pause. Pause.
Yo. You're talking about getting us canceled. Me getting
You
us
said
canceled.
it.
No.
You
You interpreted.
you said it. Yeah, you
You
were.
interpreted.
You said it.
But yeah, that's really it. I'm. If you want to know, I'm drinking Prime.
Really? How is his drink or their drink? Because it's KSI and Logan Paul, right?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's nothing revolutionary, but
Is it? What the fuck is it called? Is it body armor? Have you ever
No.
had that?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Is it similar to Prime?
I don't even know like what they call it. I call it just really, really advanced juice.
So some type of fixated
Yeah.
juice. Okay.
I don't remember what
Interesting.
exactly they call it, but it's all right.
Shout out Logan Paul.
Yep,
AKSI.
absolutely. But now,
Okay.
enough free promotion aside.
Okay. I am drinking
Yeah.
Poland Springs water. So there you go.
There you go.
Shout out Poland Springs in my home state. Okay.
Where do we want to start? Andor is going to be the very long discussion.
Are you sure about that? No,
Guardians is going to be the long discussion. We have two other stories we need to talk. We'll talk about. They're pretty big.
I think we should just go with Andor.
Yeah, let's get Andor going. Now, I did put in the thumbnail. Is this the peak of the Disney era? No. As good as it is, I think you and I both agree the show didn't get the viewership to pull that legacy. I don't think it underperformed as bad as most people do, but I don't think it performed to the numbers of even the Book of Boba Fett.
And that show was not good.
And yeah, that show wasn't very good. So I think from a standpoint, would I call the show a failure? Definitely not. I just wish it would have had the hype of even Kenobi. Even that would have been fine. Or Tales of the Jedi. Or The Bad Batch. Or the Clone Wars Season 7. Just I wish it had around the hype. What I would say Andor is I would say it's the Star Wars Rebels of the live action shows, where it's really good but got no views. That's my best comparison for Star Wars animation. It is the Star Wars Rebels, where it was really good. No one watched it though.
Are those your thoughts?
Those are my quick thoughts.
I would say Andor is a breath of fresh air for Star Wars. It's good. It's really good.
It is.
In my opinion, I think you obviously finished the story because it's very good, but you don't do these type of projects anymore. Here's my thing.
I disagree.
If you want to continue to do these type of projects, you have to come to the realization that while it does still invoke some feelings of more sophisticated, a more intellectually, I would say superior, but more intellectually, harder to grasp. It's more harder to grasp for a younger audience. Again, in simple layman's terms, it's for adults, right? It talks more, it gets more into depth about the political nature, about relationships, about the details of rebellious activity, of terrorism, of empires, of fascism, of all those isms, of everything that you could think of. I have heard the argument, and I'm just making a broad generalization here, that this is the best thing ever. This is the way Star Wars should go. This is very good for the brand. I disagree with all of those assertions. Again, you look at viewership, not good. You just look at general conversation, not good. I would also argue, and my friends, we were actually talking about it. they're not as big as fans of Star Wars as I am. They're fairly into this stuff.
Hmm.
But they haven't watched Andor, and we're going to watch it as a group here soon. But I think they put it the best. Even they notice it. Star Wars isn't supposed to be have. My friend put it best. Star Wars isn't supposed to have good dialogue. Like it's
Mm,
not supposed to have very sophisticated. It's goofy in nature. It's very
my
goofy.
yeah. And my thing with
Andor does the exact opposite. Andor tries to be sophisticated, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right?
yeah.
I'm just saying that for Star Wars, it was like, whoa, like my parents like this show. My parents didn't like the Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan. They liked this show because it was easier for them to relate to as adults who have
Yeah.
gone through life experiences.
And yeah, and I think personally, I said this multiple times to you during the show. I think you take Star Wars away from Andor. I think it's a better show. I think if you took Star Wars away from The Mandalorian, it's a bad show. But that's what makes those shows so great. My thing with Star Wars, and I think the direction Star Wars should go, is Star Wars has always contained itself, especially under the Disney era, to being for kids. But I think these oddball projects where they're meant for the more mature audience, I don't think hurts it at all. It's one of those things that, for me personally, I don't think Star Wars should go through the direction of being this super serious, nitty gritty, like very very niche character stories. I want to see more of these though. Now I'm not saying I want to go see a Max Rebo story or any of that, but I'm thinking stuff like this with Andor. It's one of those shows that feels necessary. Well, yes, while we do have, we have Star Wars Rebels. It's meant to show us the formation of the rebellion. I think what this show serves as is a lead into the show of what got the leaders, what got them there. Now, obviously, I'm not saying we need to see for Star Wars. I don't think we need to see a Mon Mothma's parents' origin story. So how did Mon Mothma come? How was she conceived? Where was she conceived at? But
Right.
I do think Star Wars needs to go down these routes. I think the problem with Star Wars right now is, and I think you and I have a same opinion, but for different reasons. Star Wars is directionless right now. I'm someone who, I don't think that's a bad thing for Star Wars. Star Wars has never had a direction, except for the trilogy movies. Those are the only things that need a direction because they are episodic and they're linked together. Now, I think maybe you and I interpret direction different. I think Star Wars and Disney has been a real big pusher for the High Republic. I think that is where, right now, that's where they're putting all their eggs right now. Because it's doing good. I think out of all the High Republic stories, only one of the books were said to not be as good as the rest.
Yeah, I'm not 100% positive. I haven't kept up.
And so when I hear that, I'm just like, wow, I want Star Wars to be like that. But I feel like the book side of Star Wars fans and the watching Star Wars fans are so different. We'll get into this discussion now, so we can just kind of get it over with. I want to talk about the bricks and screws discussion. Like, okay, I'm gonna say this about Star Wars theory. I don't like the guy. I don't think he should be the face of the Star Wars community on YouTube or really any social platform. But I think the conversation was blown so far out of proportion and just so dumb that it made it was honestly a quite embarrassing time to be a Star Wars fan.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think I said this. I think Andor fans are literally the worst people I've ever seen on the internet.
I don't think it's Andor fans. I think
these are the most annoying people I've ever interacted with. And mind you, I've interacted about the show 3 times. Literally, the first thing I said about the show was it was a Twitter interaction, and I don't get much time to talk about it like I used to, right? We're busy. We all got busy things, and plus, I've whatever. You get the point. I moved on. we were talking about like the Easter eggs in Luthen's shop and how like it was a thing like somebody had tweeted listening to all the Andor fans praise the Easter eggs when they didn't want Easter eggs, and it was supposed to be funny,
Yeah.
funny gag, like haha. And then I was like, well, it's just interesting to me. It seems like the conversation from this episode wasn't the episode itself; it was the Easter eggs. And then this guy chimed in, "Oh, I didn't see that on my timeline. Your timeline's going to feed into whatever you see." I'm just like, I get limited exposure to this. I'm just pointing out what I see. And the guy's like, "Well, don't speak on it then." Basically, that's what he essentially said. He's just like, if you haven't seen a lot, why do you say something? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something if I feel like it. And plus, like again, the bricks and screws thing. And again, my thing with like the internet is you take 10 seconds clips from a 3 hour live stream. Is it a stupid thing to say? Yes, I'm 100% in agreement. But you know what he's trying to say. You know what he's trying to say, right?
Yeah, you can obviously get to that. He's saying the show didn't feel like Star Wars.
It didn't invoke the feeling of Star Wars.
Now,
yes.
Yeah, did he word it really, really, really badly to where he said having bricks and screws didn't feel like Star Wars? Yeah, but again, it's one of those things you gotta try. You gotta use. Look, it's one of those things that the Star Wars fans that defended the prequels or defended the sequels. It's one of those things that if you're gonna tell people who are actively opposing you to start using common sense, you got to also use that same common sense you're telling other people to use. You could tell what he was trying to say.
Absolutely.
It didn't take more than one brain cell to be like, oh, I get what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Look, Star Wars theory, he's very opinionated. I don't agree with everything that he says, but that's him.
Right.
We view Star Wars differently, and that's what it is. But I mean, come on. I think the fact that so many of these big creators on specifically TikTok were just like clowning on the guy, but you're just like you are being just as bad as you claim he is.
You are just boring. You are
just
funny.
Like videos after videos. It's just like, oh yeah, that's a fun. Okay, this is like
it was funny when he made fun of himself. Like he made a video and it was like, what's your favorite brick? And I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like making fun of himself. On Nerd Theory, he was like, because like I listened to Theory and I like Josh too. I like more of Josh from the Den of Nerds. I know he was in a lot of controversy because he said he didn't like Andor.
Yeah.
And both of them, like, it's weird though because like Josh said more shit about Andor. Like he said it was like he just said way more. But again, like it's just weird. Why do you care about these people's opinions? Like I've never really understood the infatuation with like these people. Like it's weird because like normal people like in my friend group, when we disagree about something, we're just like, okay.
Yeah, I think
cool.
I think the caring of it comes from the fact that they are top dogs, and you would think that they.
Yeah, but that's just such a weird thing. That's just so weird for me to.
It's one of those things. Also, though, it is a kind of normality for people who are the top dogs to not have such a negative aura around them. I can't think of a fan base that has a top guy like Star Wars Theory where everyone is just like so split down the middle. You hate him or you love him. Nothing. No.
Well, that's just a microcosm of the Star Wars fandom in general. I think but
it's weird. It's one of those things that like, if I'm a new Star Wars fan, I wouldn't want to interact with the Star Wars Theory fans, but I also wouldn't want to interact with any of the TikTok creators that are these.
I agree.
I call them. They attempt to be the shining beacon of hope for Star Wars creators.
They're bullshit.
But
they're fake.
They're awful. And I could name drop 10 creators right off the top of my head right now who I think specifically fit into this, that they're not spitting opinions, they're just spitting facts. But it's the way that they spit these facts that like they come off sarcastic, like they're attacking you for having questions or not understanding something.
I've been blocked by these people too.
Yes. So. It's just one of those things that it's just like, look.
Also, one of them was a grown man that complained that about followers.
Yeah.
So remember that. Andy's also a lawyer. You'll probably figure out who it is just based off of that. That's still my greatest video of all time. I just had to say that. Continue.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that it's just like, as a new fan, the community itself is more daunting than getting into the content.
Don't talk about Star Wars is my thing. I told my friends because I told them about what we do here and what I do on TikTok. Excuse me. They're like, do you like it? Do you like interacting with these people? Like, what do you know? I'm like, I like to interact with the Marvel people. Those people are cool. The Star Wars people are dickheads, minus a few of them. When I go into other people, like when I go into Choco or Element, those are usually good people I like to interact with and talk with Star Wars a little bit about. Alex, obviously, that's how we met. Alex and I met over a disagreement. I don't think you're gonna find that. I don't think you're gonna ever find that again. If I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, but the thing about it though is just like, what would make the Star Wars fandom so much better, in my opinion, is if just people did what me and you did, just sat down and talked about it.
Yeah.
But no, it's one of those things that it's just like people they want to argue for the sense of arguing. But
yeah.
Anyways,
Star Wars fans needs to touch grass.
Literally. Yeah. Andor, let's talk about it. I think when we last left off, we were at, what episode did we talk about? 10?
We hadn't talked about the prison break yet.
Oh, okay. So we were at episode 9 last we spoke.
So we're talking about episode 10. Probably one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars ever, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Just, I'll tell you this. I think Andor's character work is unparalleled in Star Wars.
We could name a lot of characters.
Unparalleled. I think the fact that in one episode, Kino Lloyd went from being one of my least favorites of the show to being my absolute favorite for a while was incredible.
One way out.
One way out. And then being absolutely punched in the
such a gut-wrenching moment.
Can't swim. He's still there. That's the heartbreaking part.
He's still there, Crow. He's just like, he's still there.
I was very sad when Cassian in the finale did not tell them, go find Kino Lloyd in Kino 5. He's literally the only one still there.
Oh. You tell me nobody helped the guy?
Yeah. Literally, it's just like, are you telling me all of you guys don't know how to like swim while holding someone? Like, literally just like drag him or something. Oh, it's so sad.
You should have been there, Alex. You were in swim instructor. You could have done it.
I could have shown him how to swim. Just like look up and just float on your back. Ugh, so sad. But yeah.
What a great episode. Just the tension building.
The music. Oh.
Man.
The monologues of Andor are incredible, by the way.
Oh my god. Episode 11. Oh my god. Oh my god. We had Luthen.
Yeah.
We had Kino Lloyd in episode 10. Episode 12, we had Mother Marva.
And we had Nemik's Manifesto in episode 12.
Nemik's Manifesto.
So good.
Chef's. What is your favorite monologue, though?
Marva's, because if you...
It was supposed to say, fuck the Empire.
Say, fuck the Empire. You can still see her saying it, by the way. Yeah.
It would have felt so... I would have been like, whoa.
I would have had to pause the episode and be like, whoa, I agree with everyone. This isn't Star Wars.
Oh my god. It would have been so weird.
This is Wars in the Stars. That's what I would have said.
Fuck the Empire. It would have just felt so out of place. It would have been like, what?
I would have died of laughter.
I would have been like, what?
I would have been like, hey, yo, who made Kathleen Kennedy mad today? She just didn't care. Who cares? Just let it slide by.
I do have to ask, because I do want to ask about this character, or this relationship. Are they trying to make Surreal Khan and Dedra Meero a thing?
So weird. So
because I was watching the episode with my family, and I remember my mom asking me, like, are they like a thing? and I'm like,
Yeah,
I have no idea.
it's so weird. I don't get the feeling that they're gonna be a couple. I feel like they're gonna be like right hand, like he's gonna be her right hand man. But it's just like really weird. It reminds me of Anakin and Padme, bro. It's just
But like on
so
steroids.
it's literally if someone just injected George Lucas while he was writing episode 2 with literally every type of hallucinogen drug, you know, just everything, bro. That man, he was writing just random words on the page. And that's how Cyril Karn and Dedra relationship was. Yeah, man. That finale, though. I don't think I liked it more than The Mandalorian Season 2's finale, but that is just that. To be fair, that was just like ultimate like nostalgia bait, though. Also, because of bringing in
Well,
like
also that finale was good.
and yeah, it was also just a good finale. But this finale, I feel like had so much heart in it. You could tell this was the episode that definitely was one of the top episodes that had the most like time and effort put into it. You could just tell.
The monologue, the funeral on Ferrex, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just Andor, man, as a whole, I think it is one of Star Wars' biggest, best things it's made lately. I think like not taking into account,
Best things it's made recent in the Disney era. Absolutely. Like I think you can make you can make a legit argument it's the best thing they made. I don't think it's better than The Mandalorian still, but you can make is it better than The Force Awakens?
Yeah.
Better than Rogue One?
Yeah.
Better than Last Jedi? I know you like The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I'd still say it's better.
Better than Solo?
Oh, by far.
Do I have to ask about Episode 9?
We can just skip over it.
So it's better than the 5 movies. Book of Boba Fett? Yes.
Absolutely.
Kenobi?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mando?
I mean, I think Mando Season 1 is... I have to go back and... Listen, this is my thing with The Mandalorian because I am biased to that show. And I think I saw Eckhart's Ladder had a really good tweet about it. The Mandalorian invokes the feelings as, I'm a child again. Yeah. It has just that special place in your heart. Absolutely. Like, it grapples my heart much more.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what I think The Mandalorian does is it invokes Star Wars. It is that feeling when you're a kid playing with the action figures, you know, recreating battles and whatnot. That is what The Mandalorian makes you want to do. Andor is it is the relatable show. It is the show that shows you that life is hard and how to overcome those things. That's what Andor serves. It's the mature show. It's the show you show your kids when they're of age to watch. Right. The Mandalorian, you could easily show your kid when they're 6 years old, but you can't show a 6-year-old Andor.
No.
It's too dark. You see Andor literally shoot somebody in the face within the first 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, there's also they literally talk about Biggs having to listen to a recording of dead children screaming and her basically being tortured from episode 8 on, where she's literally wants to die. Yeah. Also, Luthen is an asshole, so I don't know how to feel about him still. But yeah, I just think The Mandalorian is still better for me. It has probably come from a place of personal bias. I still think The Mandalorian is still very well written for Star Wars for the most part. It has some pretty amazing character work itself.
Oh yeah.
It also just invokes that special feeling of being a child again, and for me, even with Andor, Cassian Andor, I liked the character, but he didn't move up the echelon of my list of oh my god, this is a fan favorite. I still like the character.
Yeah, I think my problem with it is
you couldn't name the show. At the heart of it, it is still a story about him because it's about his mom. It's about all that, but you could name the story Rebellion, Rebels, if you did have Star Wars Rebels, and it would have. I would have been okay. It would have evoked the same feeling to me, right? It would have just had the same sophistication. It just wouldn't have centered around Cassian as much. Which, again, I think Cassian's story is interesting, but I think the in my opinion, I don't know if you agree. I think the more interesting stuff, and it's more interesting to me because this character's kind of been in the background of two other kind of figureheads. You know, Padme wasn't a figurehead of the rebellion, but she was a figurehead for these type of ideals. And Bail was obviously a figurehead of the rebellion. But Mon Mothma's story,
Mm-hmm.
fascinating.
Oh yeah, I didn't. The only real big thing I didn't like about the show is towards the end, Mon Mothma started to slow down. We didn't get to see as much of her,
Hmm.
but still, she was really good. Even in the one episode where we got one scene with her,
Right.
so good, so good. It was easily one of the best scenes of the episode.
It was the scene with her and Val, correct? Right.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I think with this show, I don't. I'm also of the same opinion. I don't think Cassian moved up for me. I think what this show did is it used this first season to establish other characters. So we can
Hmm.
then build Cassian up for season 2 to go
Hmm.
through the thing that gets him ready for Rogue One. So I think that's why I think the show worked for me and why I don't really take any questionable, well, Cassian wasn't the best character in his own show. Because I don't think, cause I think again, the reason why I think it's okay for Cassian not to be the best guy in his show is this: there is another season coming,
Okay.
and so just like it, like imagine like if Obi-Wan wasn't the best character in his show and it was the fifth brother or
Okay.
the fourth, like it wouldn't make sense because there's not a second season coming, or the Book of Boba Fett. I mean,
Okay. Well. Okay. Yeah.
well, he wasn't the best. So it was.
I'm Tamora Morrison in episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. One sec, or episode 5. 1 second.
Oh yeah. That's crazy because yeah, he wasn't there.
Okay, I'm back for episode 7. Oh, I missed 2 episodes of my own show.
I think what's, I think what's crazy though is that Cassian did appear in every single episode. I would have thought we would have gone one episode without him because that's just typically how most shows go, where the main character isn't in it for one of the episodes.
Hmm.
But no, Cassian was in it for the long haul. I do want to talk about a lot of the stuff that the show did good. Again, I think me and you both agree the music, specifically the opening music each week, so fantastic.
I don't even know who did the score, but whoever did the score, fantastic job. Shout out to them for doing the score because it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah,
Alex is currently looking it up.
It was Nicholas Britell.
Fantastic job.
So good.
Fantastic job.
And then you find out that like apparently most of the opening themes were all a part of Marva's funeral music.
Really? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brazo too.
Oh,
that's my guy right there.
Oh yeah, B2MO.
Punching a fascist with a brick. That was Marva's satisfying.
Brick, specifically.
Marva's brick. That was satisfying.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I think the thing that Andor did so good. Again, I talked about his character work. I think this has been the first time the Empire has been scary before. Scary, like
I was thinking about this the other day. Yeah,
genuinely, like, could you imagine if the Empire was always like this?
Because to be fair, I don't mean to like shit on Rebels, right? I don't.
No, and where you're going is one of my biggest criticisms of the show.
Right, it's like, haha, stormtrooper, funny, fall down, haha.
They made the Empire look like battle droids. Like they made them mindless and stupid, unless you were Thrawn or Tarkin or Callus.
Haha, well, Callus even, haha, Callus fall down, haha.
Not even really. I wouldn't say Callus for that.
Yeah, but, Thrawn. Well, right, but what Rebels does get right is like even with somebody as intellectually intelligent as Thrawn, there were still people like Constantine who were idiots.
Yeah.
So like that's the whole point. But like what made the Empire so good in the show, you barely see a stormtrooper. Like you barely see a stormtrooper.
They're so sparsely used. When you see them, you get the feeling, oh shit, something's about to go down. And then when we see Death Troopers, you're like, oh, real shit's about to start happening soon.
Right, because we just see those characters, and even in the original trilogy, they're like, oh, they're stormtroopers.
Yeah.
They're only, mind you, in the entirety of the show, we only see the Imperial, like, military. We see what Han Solo was
Yeah.
in Solo. These are mud scuffers. These are, like, the bottom of the barrel. These are just, like, enlistees. Like,
Yeah.
to get that armor, you gotta have at least some training,
Mhm.
and they were just so frightened and so intimidated to this town of people. You know
Oh,
how the whole town was just terrified of their presence.
especially in the finale. Especially in the finale, they were terrifying in the finale.
Right.
But I still think one of the best moments of the show is when the TIE fighter was just so scary during the Aldani arc, where it just you could just tell they amplified the sound of the TIE fighter engine, and you're just like, oh my god.
You've heard that sound thousands of times, but it never felt as terrifying.
Yeah. Even when Darth Vader is flying his ship, it
Right.
never felt like that.
And you also don't have Vader on the show. You don't have Palpatine, like the two most terrifying people on the planet.
They're not even there.
You have the intelligence office, which is what the ISB is, and the ISB is terrifying as well.
Yeah.
The ISB is ruthless. The ISB is willing to do whatever it takes, no matter what. They're the secret police.
They're
you really get the. Obviously, when George created this, right? The Empire is supposed to invoke the feeling of imperialism, whether it's from our country, America, whether it's from European nations. But truly, they're supposed to invoke like the worst of the Nazis. I felt like I was watching a show about Nazis. That's the feeling I got, and
it's what also the show did good is characters who have no screen dialogue. I'm trying to think what her name is. She's the bald chick that's always with Palpatine. Her name is slipping my mind right now. When Mothma finds out she was invited to the party, you could see Mon Mothma was terrified because that's just Sly Moore. That's who it was. That's not just anybody. That is the Emperor's right-hand associate being invited to your house with your daughter. And Mothma's not just some good old-hearted senator. She's the leader of the Rebel Alliance.
Right, who was also illegally transferred funds and took a misstep and is about to get caught by the Empire. So
and then has to go to extreme lengths by putting her daughter through Chandrilan traditions, by introducing him to the evil old guy's family or son.
Right. The banker dude.
Yeah. And so I think for me, I'm just like, I love what this show did for Mon Mothma.
I agree.
What is her name? Oh my God. Why can I not pronounce her first name? Mrs. O'Reilly. That's what I'm going to call her.
Geneva.
I could not say it. Geneva O'Reilly. Perfect casting. Crazy to think that her story of getting into Star Wars was that she was casted for Revenge of the Sith. Then her scenes got deleted. And then she was brought back for Rogue One. And then she was brought back for Star Wars Rebels. And then she was brought back for Andor. So
who played Mothma in Return of the Jedi?
I don't remember her name. It was a different actress.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah. But like Mon Mothma, like you always are like, because like remember that scene in Rebels with Saw Gerrera? You're like, yeah, Saw's kind of right here. He's kind of speaking some facts here.
Yeah, and then we see in the show why she's so reserved, because any big misstep can lead her towards having to go and do something drastic again, like what she did.
Right. Well, by the time of Rebels, I assume I think her family's gonna get killed.
I don't think so. I think her family's gonna rat her out. I think that's what's gonna happen.
That would be crazy. Who do you think it's gonna be? Do you think it's gonna be? I don't know if it's gonna be Perrin. The daughter would be interesting.
Yes, because the thing is you have to remember she's the leader of the rebellion for her daughter. That's why she's doing everything.
Right.
You have to think she had to essentially sacrifice her daughter
Right.
for the rebellion.
And like her daughter doesn't even know it, and then her daughter,
And her daughter hates her too, by the way.
yes.
So I think that would be an interesting story to see.
Because Parent's kind of oblivious. Because like, right, she makes up the gambling story. I mean, he does gamble, but she is covering up with the
Yeah,
gambling story because she
yeah,
knows about her driver. She
yeah.
like has to know, or well, she doesn't know, but she's worried at least. Um, she has to be on edge at all points. So it makes a lot of sense, and I agree with you. Now that I think of it, this show adds a lot of context into why she's a pacifist, why she's very reserved. Because if you take too drastic an action, you get caught, you're dead. She's very conservative in that nature. She's very much slow evolutionary change.
Yeah.
Rather than Saw, who is more like Luthen. If anything, Luthen is very Saw in nature. Well, actually, I would say Luthen's in the middle because there's
he did kind of willingly sacrifice 50 people's lives. I would say he's more on Saw level than
true. Yeah, true, 100%.
I would say this. I would say he is Saw Gerrera if Saw actually tried. Like he actually like.
If Saw was a little bit more intelligent, Luthen's just a mastermind. Yeah,
he is. Like Luthen is Saw if he just actually used his brain. Saw is a smart guy. Okay, I'm not gonna cut him. I'm gonna cut him.
Saw is a tactical mastermind, but he's not a.
You put him in the field, he's gonna know how to win the battle.
He's not a rebellious leader. He's not like a overarching. He doesn't understand, or he understands political structures. But again, we have to remember the origins of Saw. His planet was under control by separatists, so he's really been in a rebellious nature his whole life.
Yeah,
he lost a sister, and now he's very radical. So like everything else around him is just oblivious. It's just the war. It's just the battle. By the way, shout out Two Tubes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My favorite background character. My favorite Glub Shido.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's where I feel about Luthen. I'm trying to go through everybody else major in the story.
By the way, people have said some weird things. They think he's connected to the Jedi. You think he's connected to the Sith. Luthen.
No. He's
just, I think he's just some rich socialite.
Yeah.
I literally think he's just some rich socialite who has the means to fund the rebellion, is tired of the Empire. And yeah, he might have some interesting ties to the Empire. Maybe he's become wealthy from Imperial rule. Maybe that's how he had the shop, how he got all the things he had.
Yeah.
And maybe he's trying to, pay it back. He wants to right his wrongs. The Jedi and Sith connection is weird to me. Why?
I think the show's unconnected. But
why? Yeah. By the way, how do you think he dies in season 2? Because he's got to die.
I've seen a lot of people throw in the idea that Cassian kills him. I don't know how I'd feel about it, but it would make a lot of sense. Because what if it's a thing that Mothma assigns him to kill him? Could you imagine?
That would be interesting.
I don't know how you justify it, though. That's my only problem, is I feel like the show writers don't know how to justify it, but...
Because Luthen made the decision not to kill Cassian, so why would Cassian... That doesn't seem very Cassian of him, right? That doesn't seem very much in Cassian's nature.
He did kill an ally in the beginning of Rogue One.
Well, to be fair, we don't know much about this ally. We just know that they kind of know each other. Like, I feel like knowing that...
He killed a disabled person. Let's be real here.
He didn't.
Let's not sugarcoat. He killed
I'm not sugarcoating it, Alex. I'm not sugarcoating it. But also, to be fair, Luthen did recruit him into the rebellion. Did also choose not.
I think also you could make the argument. We've seen the lengths that Luthen will go to get a mission done. What will the lengths that he will go to cover his ass? Like exposing the rebels. And I know a perfect man who knows Luthen very well, who would be willing to take him down. That'd be Cassian. I could also maybe see him dying in battle. Kind of maybe go like a Nemec way.
That'll be interesting. But I kind of like the Cassian thing, or even Mothma.
Yeah.
Or
could you imagine that? Mothma claims to be this big pacifist, but and secretly killed her like number one ally.
Right.
That'd be crazy. That'd be
or
crazy.
he turns out to be a double agent, but I don't really see that happening.
No, because he has an informant in the ISB.
Right.
Yet. So yeah, trying to think of who else really. Dedra, solid character.
Fantastic.
I don't think there was a bad character in this show.
Fantastic. Also think Dedra's going to lose her job at the ISB, and I think this because when Surreal and them first meet, Surreal's like, we're very much alike, and Dedra says, no, we're not. The only difference was Dedra had power, Surreal doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Could you imagine Cyril takes her job? That'd be crazy. Could you imagine?
Do not give that man a job at the ISB. He will become a power hungry.
He'd be worse than the Emperor.
He'd be a nut. But I think that Dedra's gonna become more radical, like Surreal, because
I think Cyril's gonna drive her to go extreme.
But again, my only problem is you got a lot to fit into season 2.
Yeah, but then again, I think they'll probably go about it the way that they did with season 1 when we all thought, oh man, there's a lot to wrap up in season 1's finale. I think just kind of put it off. Just wait. Don't rush it. Like, look, yes, I think that probably is kind of my biggest problem with season 1. There is a lot that was left unanswered. The whole stuff with Kenari, the stuff with his tribe, the stuff with his sister, his family.
Did he just drop? I think probably they just dropped the sister thing when Marva says.
But yeah, Marva essentially told him to drop it, but like that's like that is like such a big thing to just kind of be like, okay, she said so.
Because that's how you begin the show, right? Yeah, that's how you begin the show.
That's how we're introduced to how Marva and Clem meet Cassian.
Right.
I'd say really that is my only big complaint, is I feel like there are a lot of things opened up but never closed. I was getting really worried that the whole thing about Nemec's manifesto would never pay off. And then it did.
Yeah, that was really nice. By the way, did you see that thing on Twitter was like in his like coat in Rogue One? Do you think
it's on right here? He has his like, I don't even know, his Indiana Jones bag or whatever, and it's like strapped right here to his upper pec.
Yeah.
Although I don't think it is, I think that'd be a cool thing to just retcon in and be like, sure.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
By the way, I do have a question. Now, I'm a big advocate of saying, like, for example, when we say, a lot of people say the Clone Wars makes the prequels better, it makes Revenge of the Sith better. Mm-hmm. Like, we try to avoid that, but subconsciously, like, it kind of does to have those tie-ins.
Oh, yeah.
Andor's not complete yet. But does Andor Season 1 itself make Rogue One a better film?
Absolutely. Because, I say absolutely because Cassian, as a character, he's this character who, for some reason in the movie, he's always that very just like, you think your life's hard. We see Cassian now. We understand his motivation to fight. He lost his mother. He lost his planet. He lost everything, basically.
Within a matter of 5 years. Or actually within a matter of a year. Yeah. But 5 years before that, yeah.
Yeah, he lost everything.
Yep.
So now we understand why he's fighting and why he's so serious about things.
And probably at the very end, knows that the things he was making were for the weapon that's going to destroy him. By the way, worst post-credit scene on the planet. So pointless.
I don't think so. I think it was one of those things. I'm happy it wasn't attached to the episode. I think it just kind of made sense to be like, yeah, you guys all probably knew it.
Oh, look, it's the Death Star. There it is.
But wow. I think it is that thing that just like Andor was pretty disconnected from the rest of Star Wars. So I think it was that big thing to be like, hey, something's coming soon.
You remember that thing?
It's coming.
There it is.
It's around. It's 5 years away from us right now.
Which is so weird to me because it's just the uh
The radar
the
dish, yeah.
shooter itself that they're still working on. The rest of it's done.
Well, you gotta think. You gotta think why they're working on it. The prisoners of Narkina 5 escaped. They're not able to work on it anymore.
True. Still amazing that they kept that thing a secret.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it was by Scarif, and so they had that whole sector basically blocked off, like that entire section of the
Well,
galaxy.
not even that. All the parts they had to make, all the prisoners they had to keep, like that's nuts.
Hey, when you got Palpatine in control, you got to imagine so. Um,
The
yeah,
kyber crystal. Well, also Saw knew it, and but also to be fair, like what would anybody suspect with a big ass giant kyber crystal?
maybe Palpatine's just he's big into the crystal game.
Big into the crystal game.
He's trying to fix his aura. He wants to fix his aura. But yeah, I think Andor is a solid show. Again, I think my big thing to take away from it is I wish it had the discussion of the Mandalorian.
Yep.
But beggars can't be choosers. I think it's one of my favorite things of all time for Star Wars. I don't think this is the direction Star Wars should go.
Top 5? Like what we're talking about, like when I think of
top 5. I think it is probably number 5 though.
So like obviously Empire for you.
Empire.
Return
of the Jedi. The Mandalorian. Clone Wars. Ooh. So it could honestly go back and forth with Rebels and Andor.
Because you love Rebels. So for me, it goes. It's always a toss up between these two, but just because I love it more, fuck it. Return of the Jedi. Empire Strikes Back.
Mando.
Clone Wars.
Okay.
Mando. Between Revenge of the Sith and Andor. Yeah, it's 5-6.
Yeah.
It's still elite.
It's like it's one of those things that just like literally on any day my answer would change.
Yeah, right now it's probably Andor, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, and that could be complete recency bias though.
Right, 100%. 100%.
But yeah, I'm so excited for season 2. I'm so sad we have to wait 2 years, but
overall, here are my thoughts. Great show, fantastic writing, some of the best writing in Star Wars. The monologues are all fantastic, so memorable. We'd even discussed Luthen's dialogue with what's his name, Lonnie, right?
Yeah.
In episode 11, I burn my life. I sacrifice everything. So is Sarsgaard, fantastic. Feels like they wasted him in Marvel. Now when you think about it,
I know, so crazy.
Diego Luna, obviously fantastic. Geneva O'Reilly. Everyone was really fantastic. Very sophisticated. Some slow burners. Also Andy Serkis. Some slow burners for sure. But I think episode 10, episode 6, the final episode of the Aldani arc. There's some really elite, like 10 out of 10, like some of my favorite Star Wars. But then there's also some ones that are like, like it's good, but it's not over the top. And I think the finale is good, not great. I think the finale played it somewhat safe and took some interesting steps. For me, season 2, I hope they go a little bit broader in scope. I hope you bring in an Orson Krennic.
Yeah, and I think season 2. I think that'd be the perfect season for it. I think that's the biggest potential we could have. Star Wars Rebels characters show up. That's the biggest potential.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, that's the biggest place we could see Krennic. We could see a post-credit scene of Jyn. We could see
Bodhi Rook.
Well, yeah. I think that's the best way. I think my big hope for season 2 is they utilize more of the post-credit scene, probably at the end of every arc.
Right.
Kind of.
Just letting us know where we are in this timeline. Yeah.
I think also just like building us closer and closer to Rogue One, just like what the season 1 post-credit scene did. Just like letting us know, like Like we are close to Rogue One right now. We are just around the corner from that movie. So I think either cluing us into what the next arc is going to be about, or cluing us in timeline wise where we are. So that's personally how
100%.
I would go again for it.
100%.
So yeah, I think I'd rate Andor season 1. I think I'd confidently rate it an 8.75 out of 10.
I think I'd give it a confident 8.5 out of 10. Probably somewhere around Mando season 1, honestly.
Yeah, sure. I think for me, slightly better.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd have to go back and watch, but I think that's totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, full of bricks and screws.
Bricks and screws. Don't crush your friends with a ton of money.
True.
That's it.
Also, learn how to swim.
Yeah, that's true too.
And also,
fuck the Empire.
Yes.
That's Andor in a nutshell.
And 3 words.
Yeah.
Fuck the Empire.
Fuck the Empire.
I would have laughed so hard. I would have been like, what the fuck is happening?
I know.
But I would have loved it. Because it would have made sense for Marva, too. Because Marva's just that crazy grandmother, bro. She's the crazy grandmother. I would have loved it. I love that lady.
We love Marva here. Yeah, I think...
Guardians?
I was going to say, do you want to wrap up Star Wars and then move into Marvel?
Oh, what's up with Star Wars, man? What do you got? You gonna make me angry now, or what's up?
The current report...
You gonna make me triggered?
Is that Kathleen Kennedy potentially will be stepping away from Lucasfilm, from being the president of Lucasfilm, before or after the release of Indy 5 next year.
By the way,
However,
Harrison Ford looks great.
Yes.
CGI.
I'm telling you right now, he's going to be in The Mandalorian Season 3. So, or Ahsoka or Skeleton Crew. Come on. You don't get that level of deep fake or de-aging and just be like, I have to see. I didn't watch the Indy trailer. I'd have to hear how he sounds before, because he sounded like young Harrison. Do you know if they used the stuff they used for Darth Vader, like the re-speecher, or
probably? Oh no!
Oh god, you coughed so hard you coughed your AirPod out.
I don't know, but it looked and sounded like young Harrison Ford from the 80s.
Come on, bro. He's gonna be there. Him and Chewie are gonna be in The Mandalorian Season 3.
I will cry.
I would too. I would freak out.
I'm already crying. Okay.
We'll talk about another thing because there is more Kathleen Kennedy news in store. But I want to talk about, Drew, what do you think about Kathleen Kennedy potentially stepping down? And we could get someone else. We could get a Kevin Feige, or we could get another Kathleen Kennedy.
We're popping champagne bottles. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
This is such a tough conversation to have because, again, it's very controversial within the fandom. But me and Alex are pretty rational here. I don't like the job Kathleen Kennedy has done with Star Wars. Yeah, sure, her films have done very well. She's a fantastic producer, one of the best producers of all time. Back to the Future, Indiana Jones. Insert anyone.
Yeah, the prequels.
Correct. But as the studio executive at one of the biggest IPs on the planet,
I just don't think she has it.
I think, obviously, one of her jobs is to put people in the right position. Benioff and Wise. I've been watching Game of Thrones with my friends. Game of Thrones is one of the best written things I've ever seen in my life. That's so sad that they're not doing anything. Like, I didn't realize, because I didn't know about Game of Thrones. But now, looking in retrospect, like Benioff and Wise with like a Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, Patty Jenkins.
Who knows?
The original Solo directors.
Everything with Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yeah, you could just end sentence Rogue One.
Colin Trevorrow.
Rian Johnson.
Right.
Like, the problem with Kathleen Kennedy is under her leadership, there's too much uncertainty about Star Wars right now.
Right.
That's the biggest problem.
And again,
too much uncertainty for me.
I've heard the argument, You were even bringing this up a little bit when we were discussing it. Well, Marvel's pushed some things back, or they've altered their writers. The thing is, it's a rarity for them.
But we're going to talk about that later too. So just hold that thought.
I will. I'm just saying it's a rarity for them. With Star Wars, it happens almost every single project.
Yeah, I think
It feels like that they hire the people before there's a plan, before there's like a discussion. They're just like, "Oh, hired, do it."
Yeah,
It's just like what?
yeah. I think with Star Wars right now,
Holy hell!
I think Kathleen Kennedy saw Kevin Feige's Phase 4 slot, and I'm just like, wow, they're gonna pump out like 20 projects in 2 years. All right, Dave. All right, John. We're gonna hire you guys on for like 6 projects, and then she's telling the rest of them, just literally go in the phone book of directors and producers and just call them and say that we need them. And then the meeting comes. So, Kathy, you said that we were gonna need to call these people to let them know that we're gonna have them make a movie. Oh, just call them. We're not doing it anymore. Kathy, that's like 20 directors and writers. Oh well, whose problem's that? Not mine.
Not mine. That's yours.
That's the impression I get with how Lucasfilm was being run. It was just like, no, well, like what's going on with Lando? What's going on?
What?
Yeah,
with what?
Exactly. What's going on?
That was announced almost 2 years ago at this point. No update.
What's going on with the droid story? What's going on with Rangers of the New Republic? What's going on with a lot of those shows that were announced? Now, yes, I think it is important to remember we are thinking right now only about Star Wars. Yes, she did have responsibilities for franchises like Indy 5, Willow. Yes, so we understand, and we see that Indy 5 just had its trailer. Willow just started. We are understanding of that. But what about the years where Indy 5 and Willow weren't in production? So that is what? You got to think, 2020 to 2012? Those 8 years? What was going on then? So I think that's my big thing is I think Kathy has done a serviceable job for Star Wars. I think she could have done better. Much better. Way better.
And I'm not judging the quality of project.
Yeah.
That would not be fair to me.
Yeah, that's based on completely the directors and the writers. That's on them. But I think Star Wars just feels so like, oh my god, guys, all these projects just got announced, and then like only 3 of them are gonna get made.
Gonna happen, yeah.
So sorry. It's just like Star Wars right now is picking the steam up right now. Like we're getting 4 major projects next year. And then right now they just started production on the Acolyte. We're getting set leaks. We're getting casting. We're getting all this stuff. So it's picking up right now.
Yeah, you got to get.
But to that point, it's 10 years too late for many fans. And I'm one of those fans. It's too late to be like, we're doing good now, right? Right? No, you're not. It's too late now. So I think I don't hate Kathleen Kennedy. She's done, I'd say, a good enough job where I'm just like,
she doesn't deserve the laser eyes.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't deserve the Homelander eyes. Yeah, she's not the next AH. She's not any of that. Just like people are being a little too ridiculous. I do think Star Wars needs new leadership. I'm not of the opinion that we need a Kevin Feige where we need the next Avengers Endgame, but for Star Wars. I don't think that. I don't think Star Wars has ever been like that, where it's just like, we need to have an Endgame. Just kind of go all over the place like we're doing right now. We're going 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and then we're going 200 years before The Phantom Menace, and then we're going 100 years before The Phantom. Just go somewhere. I think if you want to have that little area of Star Wars where they have a big Avengers Endgame moment with like the Mandoverse, fine. But yeah,
I think they needed Kevin Feige. Not from the sense that they need like everything planned out like Marvel where they're going to an endpoint, but there just needs to be more of a cohesive plan. That's why I'm so excited for what DC's got
Yeah,
with Sargent and James Gunn,
yeah,
right?
and
So you have a very top of the line executive, and then you also have Gunn,
yeah, a
who's
top
gonna
director.
who's and also a comic book
Yeah, yeah,
genius,
yeah,
who's just gonna craft this whole story. I think if Star Wars could have get an executive in there
yeah,
and then have John or Dave crafted the set of stories.
yeah. And I think that's the big thing is neither of us want Dave or John to replace Kathleen Kennedy. That would
No,
be bad for business because we want them making stories, not approving stories.
right.
So that is where it needs to be. And plus, we also need to keep in mind Dave Filoni is already head of the creative team there.
Yeah, right. But
So
again, I don't know how much, like for example, on Andor, I'm sure we'll never get this answered. How
yeah,
much creative input do you think he had on that show, if any?
I'm gonna say none. I'm gonna say that he probably made sure the show didn't like do any major contradictions with canon. Like the Force wasn't re-explained through Andor. So I think maybe that's the amount of control that he had. But I don't think he was there on set. I don't think he was there saying this dialogue doesn't make sense. I don't think he was in that line. So
But like, I'm saying if John and or Dave are gonna work together, being like the James Gunn type of role,
mhm,
I'm saying they need to put the stories they want to have down, choose which ones they want to do themselves, but
mhm.
then deviate the roles to somebody else who's
Yes,
like
absolutely.
interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
And also they could deal with pitches, like all that. I think those two should be
and I
yay
also
or nay.
think
And
I also think Star Wars should have something like what James Gunn is doing out on Twitter right now. He's directly answering fan questions. Like any
yeah,
concerned fans have, he's answering. He's straight up saying like, like if somebody had a question about how a movie or something how it's going to work, he answers. That is what stuff like Star Wars and Marvel need right now. Is they
well,
need
that's the other
direct
problem with Kathleen
communication.
Kennedy is she's not very. There's no transparency. We don't know what the fuck's happening with half of these projects.
Yeah.
They're doing a better job, like they announced when Ahsoka's filming, when Acolyte was starting to film.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I like they've taken the steps towards transparency. Like they're showing off, hey, sorry, Rosario's only going to be here for one day because then she's got to fly right back to Atlanta to film.
they've done a better job showing trailers, announcing stuff. I think they've done
Yeah,
a better job with that.
absolutely, absolutely.
Um, but like, there's still like you had a show announced 2 years ago. There's no updates on it. Can you tell me?
Yeah, exactly. Just even if
Multiple
it's
shows.
even if you're just going to say they're getting canned, just let us know. Just
Yeah,
let us know.
they gotta
That's
do a
it.
better job with that.
Yeah,
But yeah, if Kathy's done, good for her.
yeah. I mean,
She's 70.
I was gonna say it is going to be the thing that we have to remember, like first and foremost right now, um she's 69. I just found out. Okay. 69. She's old. Oh my. I thought she was way younger.
Really?
That's crazy. I thought she was in her like late 40s.
No, no, no.
That's crazy. Um wow, sorry. But I think, Kathy, I think she's earned retirement. So, yeah.
100%.
I don't have anybody in
100%.
specific who I would want to see. I think, yeah, maybe you do take Dave and John, and you put them in James Gunn roles where they will be approving stuff, and then they can be directing and writing stuff.
Hmm.
I think that's fine. So, yeah, we can transition into our other Kathleen Kennedy news. I didn't tell you about this one because I completely forgot. Kathleen Kennedy reportedly has the 2026 and the 2027 slate officially planned out. Do we believe these reports? Yes and no.
Let's just say hypothetically, yes.
Yes, absolutely. I do believe him. Do I think she'll stick to him? No.
Well, if it's true that she's done, then no, they're not going to stick
No.
with him because it's 5 years down the line.
Yeah. So I think at this point, like,
Also, too little, too late.
yeah,
15 years later, you figured it out. Okay, good. Congrats. You get a
thanks.
pat on the shoulder. Thanks.
But yeah, that's cool. You got your planned out. You won't be there to make the movies anyways, so that's on you.
I thought we already had like this.
Yeah.
I'd like again. When are we getting the next Star Wars film?
Never.
Are we ever going to see a Star Wars film again?
2025.
Is it Taika? Is it?
It's Taika's
Patty?
movie. He's the next one.
So
And his
what's?
movie won't be till 2025.
Are we sure it's going to be Taika's film?
Yeah. He's already talked. He's still writing the script.
We sure after Thor: Love and Thunder it should be Taika?
I still am.
I'm messing with you. I still think Taika's a good filmmaker. Just
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Just no more Thor movies.
Yeah, I think Thor is also just like arced out, which is why.
Yes. Wow, he has a kid now, so he's no longer arced out.
Which is why I also agree with Chris Hemsworth's point of view.
Secret Wars.
Yes, that's why I also agree with Chris Hemsworth's point of view that when he comes back to play Thor, he should be different again.
If that's also an if. He also was just it was said that he's more predisposed to Alzheimer's because of his genetics. So I know he's taking a break. I believe
He'll be back.
they gotta give him a shit ton of money.
Yes. You can't forget the money we paid you. So,
Your contract says 2 damn Avengers films. It's right here.
It's right here. We'll show you again in 20 minutes when you forget. Right here.
Oh my god, you can't make that joke.
You're Thor. You're Thor.
You can't make that joke. You can't make that
Not
joke.
a Thunder. You have a kid now. You gotta show her the way. You might
Love.
not know your kid is also your real kid. You might forget.
You're an asshole.
Hey,
Love is her name, not the actual name.
Are you sure? I forgot.
Because at the end of the film, when Korg is doing his stupid monologue, their name is Love and Thunder, and then the movie finally fucking ends. Thankfully.
There's post-credit scenes.
Oh
I
yeah,
forgot what those were.
Hercules and
Hercules and
Jane in Valhalla.
oh yeah, shit. I forgot. I for some reason thought they
You
were.
forgot both of them.
I thought it was the Grandmaster. Ragnarok. I was like, I got them confused. I was like, wait, didn't the Grandmaster? Didn't they go to Sakaar in that movie? No, wait, that was Ragnarok. Wow. So we want to talk about. I think we move into Marvel. Yes, we're talking about it now. So let's officially move into the Marvel discussion. We'll talk about. I think we'll talk Guardians last. Kevin Feige. Oh, because you'll see why. You'll see why.
Okay.
So Disney had an internal meeting discussing Phase 4 as a whole.
Okay.
And right now, the way that meeting went is Marvel right now has been told to reevaluate and look at the projects for Phases 5 and 6, and they are being told to potentially cut down on projects produced to put Marvel back in their quality over quantity status during Phases 1 through 3. Drew, I know you and I are going to be both excited about this because I think it is fair to say Marvel Phase 4 was about quantity over quality. I think me and you both rated it that quality was only about a 6 out of 10. So
The movies were so good.
yes.
I would say with Marvel, it's not even the quantity. It's the fact that they haven't mastered Disney Plus. But there is a little thing that I think they've done good.
Movies.
No. Specials.
Yes, I can agree with that.
I think that's the way they move. I think
that's how it should be. I think that's how it should be.
on Disney Plus, they should move to just 45-minute to hour origin stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
And I think it would work a lot better. Now, for things like Loki that's explaining the multiverse.
Yes, you got to break that. You got to break that up.
WandaVision, another thing that needs to be a show.
Because that was purely episodic.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you can kind of do a special of how he becomes Captain
Yeah.
America.
And honestly, I think the thing also with the specials is you can make them up to an hour and a half long.
Right.
Like they don't have to be just under an hour.
Right.
I think in the case of the holiday special and Werewolf by Night, they just fit that time slot. But again, there is like 3 hours of Falcon and the Winter Soldier that is so unnecessary.
Moon Knight.
Moon
As
Knight.
much as I love Moon
Yeah,
Knight, I think Moon Knight could have been a special.
yeah, absolutely. So I wanna run down right now. This is the current Phase 5 slot of movies that we're going to
Okay.
talk about, or movies and shows, and we're going to talk about should Marvel get rid of them? Should
Ooh.
they make them a special, or should they
Okay.
stay in their current place?
Okay.
Let's get Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I think that has to stay.
Massive.
Yeah,
Massive because it introduces the villain.
that introduces the saga villain. So
Right.
we have to. Echo. I don't
Special.
even.
Actually, I think they can cut it.
I don't think they can it.
I literally think the only two
Daredevil.
important yeah, and I think I like Maya Lopez and Hawkeye, but I didn't need a show.
Yeah. Blade. I think special.
I would just say movie, just because of the fact of how special those Wesley Snipes films are. They're the main reason we even have comic book films. So
This is the big one. Daredevil Born Again. I think
show.
I think show. I think you might want to cut back on 18 episodes though and go to 16 or even potentially lower, like 12.
12. Yeah, 18's a lot.
So, Secret Invasion. I think that should have been a movie. I don't understand it. I don't understand it being a 6-part series. I still to this day don't get it.
I think it should have been a movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Loki season 2, we already discussed that should stay as a series.
Mm-hmm.
Ironheart.
Special. Kind of also an important character, kind of replacing the Tony Stark role.
And I wouldn't say she's replacing the Tony Stark. The big thing about Ironheart is that she apparently will be a very reoccurring character through Phase 5.
Phase 5, yeah.
That and her, She-Hulk, from what it looks like, Daredevil. So
yeah,
they're going to be big reoccurring characters. That's why I'm kind of leaning on the edge to keep it a show. But
I think it's special.
If it's not
like an hour and a half special.
Yeah, I think if her show's gonna have big implications like Loki about how she ends up where she is, keep it a show. But I think if it's just like her after the events of Wakanda Forever, then yeah, make it a 1.5 hour special.
Explaining how she gets her new suit and
also
explain she's also going to be a significant role on the new Avengers team. So
yeah,
she's the new genius on the team.
Exactly. Yeah. Captain America: New World Order
movie.
You gotta keep it a movie. Sam needs a movie at this point.
Thunderbolt Ross. I mean, it's kind of a big movie with the Hulks.
Absolutely, yeah.
The leader.
I think we obviously feel the same way. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 should stay.
Has to be a movie.
It's got to be. The Marvels. I think I'm gonna keep it a movie.
It has to be there because Carol is such an important character.
Yeah. And then one that I think we're both going to agree on this: Agatha, Coven of Chaos.
I really like the cast.
Yeah, but my thing is, unless it has some big groundbreaking thing, can it? And the only groundbreaking thing that I could think of is Wanda coming back.
Yeah,
that's it.
The kids, maybe I don't know, but even the kids, I'm like,
yeah. Even then, I'm just like, you could easily put that literally anywhere else.
Right? Yeah.
You
can it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say can it. Thunderbolts. I say special. I say hour and a half special. I understand the movie.
I think this movie is stupid.
I do too, and I think for that reason,
especially because it's reportedly that Squadron Supreme is gonna be the main villain of this film, Hyperion. Like what?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Like this. I don't know what's happening with this film. I'm excited because it's just got a bunch of cool ass characters.
Absolutely.
But besides that, I'm like, what?
I think also with the reported plot of it being a thing about vibranium, again, I think you're gonna have to find a hard press to convince me that Bucky would be the leader of the team.
Right.
You just couldn't convince me right now.
Right.
We'd have to see him somewhere else.
Yep.
So now moving to Phase 6. Fantastic Four. I think that should stay a movie.
Has to be a movie.
I think the Avengers movies. I think a 6-part Disney Plus series would be just pretty cool. No, they got to say the films. The reported Young Avengers. I think depending on how big they're gonna be for the fate or for the saga special, their story honestly is not that long in the comics, so
We'll see what they do. I really think that Feige's just going to merge the Young Avengers with this new Avengers team. So
yeah, I do too. I think that's what could happen. But Deadpool 3
has to be a movie. Did you see Miss Minutes tweeted at?
Yes, at Ryan Reynolds. Crazy, freaking crazy.
Reported that Owen Wilson's going to be in the film.
Mm-hmm. Could you imagine? So
now, what about Armor Wars too? Yeah. Armor Wars is a film.
Armor Wars.
That's a weird one.
Was turned into a film. So that is the first time that has happened to my knowledge, where a show was written as a show, but then turned into a movie.
Now we had Nate Moore saying that this film had some really big ideas that needed to be in a film.
Yes.
The only thing big I could think of this.
White Vision.
Tony?
No. And
Robert Downey Jr. is gonna be in that film as the AI. I think so.
I think this also. So of course we know of the reports that Marvel has been reaching out to big stars to be in Avengers: Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty.
Okay.
Old stars too. So most likely you're Tobey Maguire. Most
Hugh
likely
Jackman.
you're Andrew Garfield.
Oh my God.
Most likely you're
Stop.
Hugh Jackmans. Most likely you're Robert Downey Jr.'s and Chris Evans. So we know they've been reaching out to other actors. Or to
right.
actors.
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. So
McAvoy.
So the question remains, like, do I think they'd bring Tony back in Armor Wars? The other big one, the only other one that I can think of is Wonder Man. I think special. I don't think he needs a series. I think a special would fit just fine.
And then there's a report about Vision Quest, about White Vision.
Vision Quest.
It'd be special.
Special, sure. Because I think...
Also reportedly, like, Ultron. Ultron could play a role in Armor Wars. And yeah. So it's all dependent on what we see afterwards, but I think they could do a lot more specials. I just do. Especially for these new characters, origin stories.
You have to think they are just mini movies, and Marvel masters movies. So I think that's where they should
you do your shows.
Yeah. I think things that need, like, these big stories that need to be, like, you have to watch them week by week, because you shouldn't watch them in one sitting, because it's too much at once.
Maybe if they just had, two, and I also would feel like the content would feel more spaced out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way that I think they should go about it.
Hire us, Kevin Feige. We just fixed Phase 4.
So
if they did that for Phase 4, we would have been golden.
Just put us in control of Star Wars and Marvel.
Down.
Do it. I would approve a Geodude story, or Geo Rock, or whatever his name is.
Geo the Rock.
Oh my God, I was thinking of the Pokemon. He gets his own 12-episode miniseries.
Do I get one?
No. You'll be a random stormtrooper that dies. Yep. And then I'll be the main protagonist of the next movie.
That also dies?
No. I like replace Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, we're actually gonna bring time travel into Star Wars, and I'm gonna travel back before Anakin is born, and I'm gonna shoot Shmi in the face.
So Star Wars stuff.
So, hey, if Star Wars Legends can have time travel, so can I.
Wait, Legends does?
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
I couldn't explain it if I tried.
Wait, but do they actually change events though?
No, they bad guy always gets stopped.
Oh, okay. That's thumbs down.
Yeah. But literally, there's times where characters like Luke Skywalker travel to the past. Yeah, it's crazy. Star Wars is a whole other thing. There's also a thing where the
What
character,
about in Legends, the mountain that cries or whatever, the sad mountain? You know
yeah,
about
also,
that? That's
yeah, also the force sensitive droid. um, also just like Darth Nihilus.
um
Literally, that's all you. Ah. Which, by the way, that is honestly, in my opinion, one of my favorite misconceptions. Darth Nihilus was not powerful.
no.
If I were to put him on a scale, he is like Finn levels of power.
He's
He is
like a
not
bitch
powerful.
boy.
He literally, if you play Knights of the Old Republic 2, if you like, you can bring a blaster into a fight and beat him. Like, he's not hard to kill. He's just a robe in a mask.
But he eat planet.
Well, he ate my blaster shots and died. So
But it's not even like true that he ate a planet. It's just like he sucked the force out of it.
yeah, he literally just sucked the force essence from it. Look, Star Wars has gods in it. So we can just make Star Wars the new MCU. The SWU. There we go. The SWCU, sorry. If we can have it Star Wars Endgame, where the Emperor.
Did we already have that?
Nope. Where the Emperor gets brought back again through time travel. And Anakin Skywalker gets brought back, and he has to go acquire the 6 infinity bottles
Crystals,
of water.
kyber crystals.
Yes. See, we have to make him different, though. We have to make it different. So he
It's
gets
just
6
giant kyber crystals.
Yes, that's the difference. So
Okay.
Guardians Volume 3 teaser trailer. Let's talk about that.
I love Drax.
I do too. Every time we see him, bro, he becomes my new favorite.
Bro, in the holiday special, he's absolutely hilarious. And we did talk about the holiday special. The holiday special is great.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
watch it if you haven't.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. Let's talk. We can redo that intro bit later. Let's talk about holiday special real quickly. So good.
So funny.
So good.
So funny.
So good. I think
also a good story for Mantis and Drax.
Absolutely. I think it kind of did answer the question, or answer what we all basically knew. Peter and Mantis are sister, or half brother and half sister.
Mhm.
The Guardians are the owners of Nowhere now. So I think
the Collector sold it, so the Collector is still alive.
Yes. Tyvan something. Tyvan someone is alive. The Guardians have a new ship, the Bowie, named after David Bowie.
The Guardians also don't like actors.
Yes, the Guardians do not like actors. Kevin Bacon is a character in the MCU.
And he's also hilarious.
He is. He's really good. The music was top notch, by the way.
Yes.
Especially the one about Christmas at the beginning. It's so good. Because it's my favorite part about the song is you can tell which character influenced which part of the lyrics. You can definitely tell when the singers were influenced by what Rocket was saying versus like what Cosmo said or what Kraglin said.
By the way, when Cosmo started to speak, I was like, because the dog's mouth doesn't move, and I didn't know that. So it's just like, what is happening? And I didn't even know Cosmo had telekinesis.
Yeah, he's a telepathic dog.
And it doesn't move his mouth. Or she. It's voiced by a woman, I believe, right?
Yeah, but it's a male dog.
Okay.
I think. It is in the comics. That's how it is, so.
It might change it up. No, that's cool, though. Yeah, Kevin Bacon was hilarious. Star-Lord, Peter Quill.
So good.
And Groot. And it felt so weird. I'm like, because every time he just ages up by so much, I'm just, what?
Well, yeah, it's important to know that we see in the Volume 3 trailer why he's so jacked. It's because underneath all that is other arms. He literally is General Grievous.
Wait, is that why?
Yeah, you see in the trailer when he yells, "We are Groot," you see what his real innards look like. It's literally just carved out because he has 6 arms. My guy's actually General Grievous.
We love Groot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, the big thing about the Guardians Holiday Special is James Gunn did say that you need to watch it before watching Volume 3. Obviously, we saw in the trailer why Mantis is clearly talking to Peter about, being kids of ego. So I think if you just don't want that to be a random surprise shock,
Yeah.
watch.
And also, don't they reference Gamora?
Yes. He talks
Yeah,
about
that
how Peter hasn't been the same since Gamora left, or something around that.
okay. It
Now,
is.
now we're gonna talk about the Guardians Volume 3 trailer. So good.
They played Among Us.
They did. They were playing Among Us. They all got voted out because they were all being too sus.
Uh,
I do think I want to talk about my big thing with the trailer that I'm really confused on is Gamora.
okay.
You would think that she would have dusted with the rest of the 2014 variants with Thanos. I would find it very weird that Tony in his last thoughts thinking where I'm going to snap all these people away except a girl I'd never met, Gamora. I think they're going to have to really explain how she's alive because we do know that is the 2014 variant of her. Which, could you imagine this movie, takes place 2025, 2026?
Right.
So how old is she at this point? She's like blipped, but really blipped.
Right, because she's only at this point. What would she be?
Probably
Only,
maybe
only.
30, maybe.
Well, does she? So how does this work? When she is transported to?
She's 2014 she's 2014 her in 2023. So what? We can just assume she's 27.
Okay,
So
and then now in this one,
she
would be
30.
30. So she only aged 2 years, but it's technically been 11. But she did
Yeah.
experience those 11 years. And she's also with the Ravagers.
Yes, she'll be leading her own group of Ravagers. Again, I think they really need to take their time with explaining how she's alive because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you've said because you believe she should have been snapped away with Thanos' army.
Yes, because she's from 2014, and Tony Snap erased everybody from 2014. So Gamora, by turn, should also be there.
Okay.
But who knows?
I don't know how big of a role she's going to play either, because there's a lot of stuff they're doing in this film.
There is. I want to talk about one of my most exciting parts. The thing that got me popped the most. Seeing my boy Adam Warlock. Woo! He looks so good. I wish he would have had the Soul Stone in his head instead of some weird little emo dot in his head. But
Kinda can't do that.
Yeah, the Soul Stone kind of doesn't exist anymore. Well, who knows? Because Gamora exists, so
he looks dope.
He does. I know a lot of people have randomly been complaining that he doesn't look gold enough.
Why? Because the people that what are the people that make him? What are they called?
Oh, the Sovereign.
Yes. Is that why?
I don't know.
Because he's in the golden cocoon.
Who knows? I'm excited to see him. I love Adam Warlock. My thing with what this movie has to my favorite iteration of the Guardians is the video game version of them. They're so good in that game. And I cannot wait. Seeing them in their comic suits was...
They look dope.
I marked out, bro. I marked the fuck out. When they walked into that half-world-ish place, I was so excited. And Rocket. I think Rocket... I don't know. I think Rocket's death... I think it's a red herring. I don't think Rocket dies anymore.
So we see him with another raccoon lady. Yes, what's her name? Lila?
Yes, that's his girlfriend/wife before they were separated.
So I assume that's either A, flashback, or B, them reunited?
You can tell it's a flashback because his face is younger and he's smaller.
Yeah.
Also, again, I just think with this trailer, I think it's just like way too obvious that they're playing up his death. Like he's talking about how they'll always fly together when he looks like he's like dying or whatever. But again, you can
Pete,
just tell.
I'm done running. And he doesn't say, like, he says Pete. He never calls him Pete.
Yeah. So that's why I'm just like I honestly don't think it's gonna be Rocket anymore. I think it's gonna be Drax.
I don't know too much about this film. I'm being honest. I think Rocket. I think Drax. I think Mantis.
No, I don't think Manus.
I think they all die.
I've seen a really wild prediction that Star-Lord dies.
No, I don't see that because he's gonna probably lead the next cosmic team, whatever that is.
I don't know, man. But
I feel like you can't waste Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's such a talent. Well,
unless he's playing Mario.
you have to get rid of Robert Downey Jr. at some point. So
Yeah.
it would be wild if they killed Star-Lord, though.
I know.
Especially, he's the main character. I wouldn't mind if you don't kill him in this film. I wouldn't mind killing him in Secret Wars.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, I feel like again with the Kane dynasty, it's kind of got to invoke that feeling of Infinity War, but it's got to be bigger. What makes Infinity War so special is that opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
They fucking killed Loki. Like, yes. Loki
and
dead. Yes.
And Thor was basically as good as dead.
They killed the unkillable character. Yeah. So, hey, Star-Lord, Thor.
Yeah.
You know, I think those are two options for me that could very well die because they've been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for them to probably step aside and let the new age come in. Drax throwing the basketball off the kid was absolutely hilarious. That was
so caught me off guard so hard. I was like, what?
Drax just is the funniest things ever. Drax De Bautista. Fantastic.
So good, man. He every time I see him, I'm always just like, Drax is my favorite.
Drax.
He's just so good. Like, Dave Bautista.
He's just the big idiot goofball. He's just so funny.
And he plays it so well, too. Like,
so yeah. That planet. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was about to bring that planet up.
So the High Evolutionary, that's where he's at.
Maybe. So
I thought it was Earth at first. I was so confused. I'm like, are these kids dressed up, or is this like not Earth?
You can tell because it's meant to invoke New York because you can see what looks like the Statue of Liberty, but it's not.
Okay.
It's believed to be Half-World, Rocket's original planet, where the High Evolutionary, basically in the comics, he is the genetic scientist of the Marvel Comics. He wants to push evolution to the furthest it can be. He wants to push human evolution to the furthest. So what he's done is, like with Rocket, when he was a baby raccoon, he implanted him with humanity and being able to feel human emotion, which is why he's able to and whatnot. But we know deep down he's a raccoon.
Correct.
So, and I
don't say that to him now.
I know, don't say it. So we know that's what his goal is in the comics. And I think this is Half-World. Half-World is basically a place where they made animals throughout the galaxy into humanoids.
Right.
And I think that's what this is. I think this is Half-World. It's meant to look like Earth. We see it's in the style of the 80s. We can see that by the cars. We can see that by how the people are dressed. I found it hilarious how the Guardians just kind of park their ship in the middle of a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can see that it misses the houses, but you can see the landing gear kind of like goes through the ground in front of some random person's yard.
It's fine. Just brings the property value down.
Yeah. But noticeably missing in that shot of the Guardians Groot and Rocket. Or no, just Rocket, I think. And Gamora. But, like, who gives a shit right now? So, prediction. Do you think this is where Rocket is? Like, what do you think the purpose of them coming to this planet is?
I don't think this happens early in the movie. I think it happens later. I think they got to deal with everything with Adam Warlock first.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time piecing together the time of this movie. When do things happen? Because the thing is, when the Adam Warlock stuff happens, we know it's on Nowhere. You can tell by the background that he's fighting Nebula on Nowhere.
Okay.
So we got to think, when would that happen?
The beginning of the film, I feel like.
Yeah, because I'm gonna spoil the Guardians game here, and I'm gonna spoil Adam's arc in the story or in the comics. Adam Warlock is a being created, and he's being used to kill people. Specifically, he's the antagonist to the Guardians of the Galaxy at first.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read the comics and whatnot, he has a big beef with Thanos, because he has the Soul Stone in his head and whatnot. Blah blah blah. That's for the comics, but for the game, he encounters the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then he ends up teaming up with them. That's ultimately Adam Warlock's big story. Is he finds out he's being used, he turns on the people who's using him, and he joins the Guardians. So I think that's kind of what happens here. Is I think what they've done is they've just removed Adam Warlock from, like, they've CGI'd him out. So,
well, he's just not there right away.
Yeah, because that's also another big thing in the Guardians game is Adam Warlock is he always showed up late to fights. So, yeah, that is what I think. It is. I think he's gonna be, like the beast that they fight at the beginning of Guardians 2. I think it's gonna be that thing where they kind of like, where then they go to the Sovereign, they get paid, and then the Sovereign come back.
I think it's just gonna be extrapolated out. I think it's gonna be longer than that.
Yeah,
I think it would be like a whole arc of the film.
I think it's probably going to be a thing where he's probably the antagonist for the first third of the movie. Then he joins them in the second, and then then they fight in the second act, and then he teams up with them in the third.
I think at some point also too, like while they're on, what's the place called where the High Evolutionary is?
Half-World.
Half-World. Gamora's also there.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because Gamora also might be after Pete.
I'm just so...
There's a lot they're going to do in this film. This film feels like it's probably going to be 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's got so much to wrap up. This is it for James Gunn with Marvel. This is it for the Guardians. So
I'm just so confused as to what Gamora's point of this movie is.
Because I feel like, we'll be honest, it could be lame if them and Peter just get back together.
Yeah. It's gonna feel so unearned too.
Well, I would say that. I would say I'd have to see it, but it would just feel so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also Peter in the Guardians game has he has a history with this lady, and they basically insinuate that they had a sexual relationship with each other.
Okay.
And so I think that would have been a more interesting thing. I think also, because the big thing is...
Or he gets down with Nebula.
Okay, whoa. Does she even have a badge? Or is that robotic? What's going on?
I don't know how that works. So is she
She's humanoid. She's an alien, but when her and Gamora would fight, and when she would lose, Thanos would rip a part of her out, and he would replace it with a cybernetic implant.
I don't think he ripped that part out. I hope not.
I hope not too. But
wait. Yeah. So he ripped eyes out?
No, because we see what she looks like in What If season 1.
It is true.
We would see what she would have looked like at least.
That is
true. She
true.
would have been blonde. So
interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
that is true.
A little weird, but
we also don't see the we see him, right? Briefly though.
Many times.
Yeah.
And I think we see that standoff when Rocket's like, Pete, I'm done running. Because it looks like High Evolutionary and the Guardians are in a similar spot.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm really excited for him as a villain.
I am too. It's one of those things that it's just like, depending on how they play him, you could easily make him a sympathetic villain where it's just like he just wants evolution to be at its furthest extent. Like he just wants
Hmm.
everyone to be at their best. But then he goes too far with it.
He's taking advantage of people, right?
Yeah. So that's how I'm going to see it. I think my predictions for deaths, I think Drax is an easy one.
Just because he has no arc.
He has no character. His character should have revolved around his rivalry with Thanos and didn't. So
Yeah. It was kind of just like there in Infinity War, and then it just like
yeah.
went away.
So I think Drax is an easy one. I don't think Star-Lord's gonna die. I don't think Manus is gonna die. I don't think Gamora's gonna die. Although she shouldn't be alive in the first place. I think Rocket could die. I just think this trailer is one of those things they're playing it up way too much.
Don't kill the raccoon. You kill the raccoon, I might leave the theater. I don't think I'll be able to emotionally recover if they kill Rocket.
What about Groot?
Bro, if they do that again,
Yeah,
I don't think I'm gonna be able to recover. If they kill Groot and Rocket and Drax, that'd be crazy.
I know.
James Gunn could do it.
Yeah, they could. He knows how
What
to
if they
pull
just
options.
what if they just all die?
No, I don't think that. But
That would that'd be nuts.
yeah, I think after the movie, I think the new Guardians will probably be Star-Lord, Mantis, Adam Warlock, Gamora,
Nebula.
Nebula, and Groot if he's alive. So I think that's the new
Oh,
Guardians.
Cosmo!
Oh, and I guess Kraglin and Cosmo, but like who counts them?
I count the damn dog.
I don't.
Cosmo!
He was so cute in the holiday special. He needs to just master his powers.
He'll get there. Or she. Or whatever.
Whatever. It will get there.
The dog. The dog will do it. They will do it. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, everybody, thank you for watching episode 85 of Wars in the Stars. We'll be back, probably not next week, but the week after, maybe. And then in a couple weeks, we'll have, at the end of the month, we'll have our big review show.
Yeah. I'll be an adult during that show.
Yes. Happy early birthday from everyone at the podcast.
Yeah.
I will wish you it obviously on the day of December the 9th, right?
Yep.
I'll make sure to wish you a happy birthday. Yeah. Again, thank you for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. Had really fun talking about Andor, Guardians, Kathleen Kennedy, Star Wars, Marvel, and their future.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot of things here. Yeah, I'll be back in a couple weeks. To get ready for the Bad Batch, your favorite show.
So excited.
So excited. All right, guys. Well, as always, may the Force be with you, and may you stay burdened with glorious purpose. We will see you next time. Peace.
Fuck the Empire.